Siro Mijil Pang
Water is our life, water is our future, water is everything. Saving water today is saving our future.
Water is the lifeblood of our planet. Sustaining all living beings. nourishing our communities, and connecting us in profound ways. For the agriculture practices, to ensure food security. For sustainable living, for the economic growth, and also uplift rural communities. We recognize that our prosperity is intricately linked to the responsible management of water. We must honor and protect our water sources for the well-being today, but also for future biodiversity. Currently, as the world navigates towards a better future, the quest for equitable and enduring water access has taken center stage. With water becoming scarcer, the global community is coming together to ensure this vital resource is secured for generations to come. Connecting across borders and cultures, they converge to share insights, strategies, and innovations through the World Water Forum, a powerful platform that is held every 3 years. Now, the 10th edition transcends the previous forum, fostering an unprecedented dialogue by introducing 3 robust processes. First, a series of political process that engages dialogue from head of state, ministers, parliament, local authorities, and basin authorities level. Second, the forum will introduce the thematic process with 6 critical sub-themes, stand as pillars of collective effort to address water challenges. Water security and prosperity. Water for humans and nature. Disaster risk reduction and management. Governance, cooperation, and hydro diplomacy. Sustainable water finance. And lastly, knowledge and innovation. Third, this vibrant assembly also enables the regional process to share commonalities in water challenges and solutions between 4 major regions: Asia Pacific, Mediterranean, Africa, and America.
We need to increase the security of water resources all over the world to protect water against climate evolution and population growth. We need water for humans and water for nature. At the next World Water Forum in Bali, Indonesia, let's work together to convince that water is politics and declare stop ignoring water.
Join us at the 10th World Water Forum in Bali, Indonesia. We find inspiration in the beauty and balance of nature. We strive to be custodians of our environment, protecting our rivers, lakes, and oceans as we celebrate water for shared prosperity. Let's create a future where every drop of water is cherished and every community thrives.
Pengelolaan sumber daya air secara efisien dan terpadu merupakan agenda yang harus kita kerjakan bersama agar air bisa dikelola dan bisa dimanfaatkan untuk kemakmuran bersama.
Register now at worldwaterforum.org. See you in Bali 2024.
Om Swastiastu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan, good morning and welcome to the Paradise Island of Bali. It is a great honor for both of us and all of us here to welcome all of the distinguished delegates to Bali in this precious moment. Allow us to introduce ourselves. My name is Dian Ariswari.
My name is Arif Senoaji, your Master of Ceremony for today's event.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are very delighted to welcome you to the second Stakeholders Consultation Meeting of the upcoming 10th World Water Forum 2024.
The second stakeholders consultation meeting of the 10th World Water Forum under its main theme, Water for Shared Prosperity, will be the place for the stakeholders participating in the political, thematic, and regional processes to bring interim results of discussion of each working group and plan for the Forum Week and beyond with a developed agenda.
This gathering aims to have updated exchanges of detailed political, thematic, and regional issues and to have in-depth discussions with precise working groups how to plan Forum Week with final deliverables, including follow-up actions after the forum.
Greetings to all of the Excellencies, distinguished guests and delegates in attendance.
The President of the World Water Council, His Excellency Mr. Loic Fochong, yang venue a Bali.
Minister of Public Works and Housing of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Bapak Basuki Hadi Mulyono.
Honorable to the Acting Governor of Bali, Bapak Sang Made Mahendra Jaya.
Board of Governor of World Water Council.
Representative from ministries.
Distinguished delegates and participants.
Ladies and gentlemen, in Bali, water is not just serves as the rituals as a medium for spiritual regenerations and also cleansing. Balinese understood that water needs to be referred and used wisely by the communities to ensure a rich harvest of the crops.
And now we are about to receive words of welcome from a distinguished leader who holds the key of the heart of Bali. Let us warmly welcome the Acting Governor of Bali, Bapak Sang Made Mahendra Jaya.
Yang terhormat Presiden Dewan Air Dunia, Mr. Loic Fochong, yang terhormat Menteri Koordinator Bidang, yang terhormat Menteri PUPR Republik Indonesia, Bapak Basuki Hadi Mulyono, yang terhormat Peru Ambassador Mr. Ali Riza Okkuskun, yang terhormat Kepala Badan Meteorologi, Klimatologi dan Geofisika Ibu Dwi Korita Karnawati, yang saya hormati narasumber dan seluruh peserta rapat konsultasi stakeholder. Selamat pagi, Om Swastiastu, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Namo Buddhaya, Salam, salam kebajikan, Rahayu, Rahayu, Rahayu. Pertama-tama, marilah kita panjatkan puji syukur kehadirat Tuhan karena atas rahmat-Nya kita bisa berkumpul di sini dengan kondisi yang baik dalam rapat konsultasi stakeholder kedua. Penunjukan Bali sebagai tempat penyelenggaraan World Water Forum yang ke-10 pada Mei 2024 merupakan kehormatan bagi pemerintah Provinsi Bali dan masyarakat Bali. Saya atas nama pemerintah Provinsi Bali mengaturkan banyak terima kasih. Forum semacam ini sangat penting dan strategis sebagai wadah berbagi pengetahuan, pemahaman, dan pengalaman seluruh ilmuwan dan praktisi sebagai upaya untuk menemukan solusi atas isu-isu permasalahan air untuk meningkatkan pencapaian ketahanan air kita. Bapak, Ibu hadirin yang saya hormati, kehidupan kita tidak terpisahkan dari air dan masyarakat Bali memiliki warisan budaya yang memuliakan air sebagai sumber kehidupan dengan menjaga keseimbangan air baik yang di Buana Agung atau makrokosmos dan Buana Alit, mikrokosmos. Saya mohon sedikit waktu untuk menampilkan tayangan kearifan lokal Bali, memuliakan air sebagai sumber kehidupan. Silakan.
Bali is a small heaven, an island of gods. Bali has a fertile and beautiful scenery as well as great culture heritage. Balinese people life cannot be separated with the water. Water brings and spread the peaceful aura for human life if it is properly managed and valued. Otherwise, water also causes the damage. Therefore, Balinese people truly appreciates and glorifies the water. Water must be protected and balanced, both those existing in the macrocosm or Buana Agung and microcosm or Buana Alit, in order to maintain harmony of the universe. Bali's development is run based on Namun Satkerti Loka Bali in order to maintain the balance between macrocosm and microcosm. The vision aims to maintain the sanctity and harmony of Bali nature through Satkerti concept that covers Atma Kerti to sanctify and glorify Atma or souls. Segara Kerti to sanctify and glorify beaches and oceans. Danu Kerti to sanctify and glorify springs. Wana Kerti to sanctify and glorify vegetation. Jana Kerti to sanctify and glorify human beings. Jagat Kerti to sanctify and glorify the universe. Bali has cultural heritage of irrigation management system called Subak. Subak covers customary law and also characteristic in the field of social, agriculture, and religion. Through the determination and spirit of mutual cooperation that have been inherited from ancient times, Tuba was designated as World Cultural Heritage by UNESCO on July 6, 2012.
Bapak, Ibu yang saya hormati, demikian sekilas video tentang kearifan lokal Bali yang merupakan warisan adiluhung. Sebagaimana tayangan video tadi, dalam keseharian masyarakat Bali, tradisi, adat, dan budaya terkoneksi dengan agama Hindu. Setiap jengkal tanah Bali selalu dihormati secara skala dan niskala sebagai ibuning ibu atau ibu pertiwi yang menjadikan tanah Bali memiliki taksu atau energi spiritual. Masyarakat Bali menjadikan air bagian dari napas kehidupan dan budaya yang dapat dilihat dari dua sisi. Profan, air sebagai lingkar kehidupan, karena di mana ada air, kehidupan bersemai dan sejuk sebagai berkah kehidupan. Air yang disakralkan sebagai tirta atau air suci yang merupakan berkat dari ide Sang Yang Widi-Wasa, Tuhan Yang Maha Kuasa, dan air pancoran yang dipergunakan untuk melukat atau membersihkan jiwa. Masyarakat Hindu Bali meyakini sekali tentang kesakralan air. Maka setiap sumber mata air selalu ada pelinggih atau tempat pemujaan. Di sisi lain, jika air tidak dikelola dan tidak terjaga dengan baik, maka petaka sudah di ujung mata, seperti kekeringan, tanggul jebol, dan sebagainya. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, demikian yang dapat saya sampaikan. Selamat datang di Bali. Saya harap di sela-sela padatnya kegiatan dapat mengunjungi dan menikmati berbagai tempat menarik yang ada di Bali. Bali memiliki berbagai destinasi wisata air, di antaranya Pantai Kuta, Pantai Legian, Pantai Melasti, kemudian juga memiliki spot diving di Nusa Penida dan Nusa Lembongan, juga ada Subak, Jatiluwih, dan Tegalalang, juga ada Pancoran Tirta Empul, Pancoran Tirta Sudamala, Pancoran Tirta Tambal Waras, Pancoran Tirta di Sebatu, Pancoran Tirta Solas, dan lain sebagainya, banyak sekali. Kemudian ada juga wisata alam Danau Batur, Danau Beratan, dan lain-lain. Kami harap bawalah cerita indah tentang Bali dan kembalilah ke Bali. Akhir kata saya ucapkan selamat kepada Bapak, Ibu, dan para hadirin semua. Semoga ide Sang Yang Widi-Wasa, Tuhan Yang Maha Kuasa, selalu melimpahkan rahmat dan hidayahnya kepada kita. Semua kegiatan ini memberikan manfaat serta motivasi bagi kita semua, sehingga kita dapat berbuat yang terbaik untuk kesejahteraan. Terima kasih. Om Santi, Santi, Santi Om. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Suksema to Bapak Sang Made Mahendra Jaya. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is always interesting to have something starts with French, like a French breakfast, a French toast, include a French that will deliver a speech this morning.
Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we will listen to the co-organizer's speech, which will be delivered by the President of the World Water Council. Let us give our warmest big round of applause to Mr. Loïc Fauchon.
Ne vous inquiétez pas, je ne vais pas parler français. Don't be worried, I will not speak French. unfortunately not Indonesian. Salam alaikum. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Excellency, my friend, Minister Basuki, Mrs. Dikawatari, and dear friends of water. The number and importance of your participation is already a sign of the yearly success of this second stakeholder meeting. First of all, I would like, on behalf of the World Water Council, all governors here present, to thank our Indonesian colleagues for their excellent welcome, as usual, and warm hospitality, as usual. My special thanks go to you, Minister Basuki, and your colleagues, ministers, and to all your highly professional team with whom the World Water Council has prepared these special days. For more than 2 years, we have been working hand in hand, together, Indonesia and the Council, the same team, to prepare this 10th World Water Forum and make it obviously successful, but more than useful. Ladies and gentlemen, all over the world, the most recent water-related disasters, from tropical storms, cyclones causing floods to prolonged droughts, show us the growing importance of water security in the life of our planet. Our world, ladies and gentlemen, in the years in which we live, is going through multiple crises. You are observing them. You are all experiencing them here and abroad. These global and sometimes regional crises are leading to change that, overturning established orders. We are forced to accept these geopolitical, economic, and above all societal changes. And even more so, we are part of the water community. We should feel responsible to define a new relationship between humankind and water. I deeply believe it, and I believe that we need to lay the foundations of a water deal that I will develop later this morning. Because all we know that water is under attack. In this subject to the deviations of climate and the inescapable demographic growth, urban growth and unreasonable human activity are aggressors, not only against water, but also against air, soil, rivers, lakes, seas, and oceans. Climate and demographics are increasing the effects of water-related disasters, both droughts and floods. These disasters are a reality, but they should not become a fatality. To govern is to foresee, and our efforts, year after year, will consist of better anticipation and prevention in the face of the lack of rain, huge forest fires, or the wrath of overflowing rivers and oceans attacking our coast. more broadly, we are fighting and we will continue to fight against the spoiling and waste of water. To be concrete, a few simple words could summarize what is a water deal. These words are preserve, produce, save, finance, govern, and share. 6 major water words. Since last February in Jakarta, a huge amount of work has been done through the 3 processes that form the basic structure of the forum and have been started. Considerable progress has been made, starting with the thematic process, bringing together more than 300 organizations and experts, an unprecedented figure in the history of forums. The main water issues are addressed through the 6 priorities selected in February. At the same time, a number of regional processes are being developed for Asia-Pacific, for the Mediterranean, for the Americas, for the Africas, and each will provide local and specific insights that will feed into our discussions. And finally, these various thematics and regional discussions will bring food to our political process, which, as you know, is organized at 5 different segments: head of states and governments, ministers, parliamentarians, basin organizations, and local authorities. All this, dear friends, will lead us in 7 months' time to conclusions on 2 distinct levels. The first is commitments, because, as you know, we need political will and political decisions, because water is politics. Together, we are going to establish a number of priority political commitments. This could be on financing and the burden of the water debt, on the right to water and its national and local implementation, on mediation also for a new time for hydro diplomacy and a few others. The second is about practical solutions. Our duty is to show the media and the public at large, the general public and the younger generation, that our work around the world is providing solutions to improve access to water and sanitation for the poorest and the most disadvantaged people. Dear colleagues and friends, this is what we are committed: working with respect, listening to each other, sharing ideas and proposals. For all this, on behalf of the World Water Council, I would like to thank you again and reiterate our gratitude to the President Joko Widodo, to the Indonesian government, to all the stakeholders and the people of Indonesia. Together, hand in hand, we will make the Bali Forum in 2024 a great moment in the history of water. Terima kasih.
Mr. Loïc Fauchon, merci beaucoup.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is now our distinct pleasure to invite the Minister of Public Works and Housing of the Republic of Indonesia to deliver his speech. Without further ado, please welcome His Excellency Bapak Basuki Hadi Mulyono.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu. Very good morning. My boss, Mr. Lee Fuhan, President of the World Water Council, ministries and representing governments, Bapak Sang Made Mahendra Jaya, Acting Governor of Bali, Member of Board of Governors of the World Water Council, distinguished experts, ladies and gentlemen, and also water friends. On behalf of the government of Indonesia, and also on behalf of coordinating minister, Mr. Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, I'd like to welcome to all of you to this second stakeholders consultation meeting of the 10th World Water Forum. Welcome to Bali, the host city of the next year's World Water Forum. Hosting the forum in Bali is not coincidence. Bali is a place where water is a vital element that connects to all aspects of life, and the core of Balinese beliefs and culture. Traditional Balinese practices, such as subak, represent Balinese wisdom in water treatment, that also reflecting the Trihita Karana, the respect relation between human, nature, and God, which bring together the realms of the spirit, the human world, and nature. We just attended or just see the World Water Congress in Beijing last month. With the same theme, we're discussing about the harmony of water, human, and nature. In fact, Subak has recently been designated as a World Cultural Heritage Site of the UNESCO. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the World Water Forum has served as a platform for discussing and addressing global water-related challenges and issues. Water is limited, of course. Utilizing and managing it wisely is a must in order to achieve a shared use of water, or as reflected in the forum principles, a shared prosperity. Thus, we are gathered here at the stakeholders consultation meeting to reach two main objectives. First, discuss the forum's three processes and develop connection between the themes, regions, and three processes. Second, plan ways forward, including deliverables and plan of action. At the 10th World Water Forum next year, we will have two sessions. First, the high-level session of the invited head of states, where they will emphasize on the need to collaborate between the developed and developing countries. Sometimes we can call it the water justice. The ministerial session that will produce a ministerial declaration based on inputs of the regional and thematic processes, as well as previous stakeholders consultation meetings. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can share your thoughts and exchange ideas in these important issues. It is now the time that you can share your thoughts and inputs for the 10th World Water Forum next year. Political leaders are encouraged to contribute to water-related policies and solutions. As the President said, water is politics, and politics is the power for managing water in terms of financing and regulation. Second, the importance of clean water and sanitation for all, as we remain off a track from our sustainable development goals. The call for international cooperation in integrated water resources management particularly in public-private partnership. Fourth, the nexus between water, food, and energy should be mainstreamed at policy levels and in line with different national circumstances. During the thematic session, the main theme, Water for Shared Prosperity, will be divided into 6 sub-themes with 30 topics. The regional processes will address water issues in America, Asia-Pacific, Africa, and Mediterranean. This meeting should also encourage further collaboration between all stakeholders participating in the political, thematic, and regional processes. We also hope that the 10th World Water Forum in Bali will provide an excellent platform to bring concrete action-oriented results and guided by the Bandung spirit calling for renewed sense of solidarity and cooperation among nations. This is what I mean with the water justice between South and North cooperation in providing water for all and addressing the global challenges related to the water sector. Leading up to May 2024, we will invite all stakeholders to submit their voluntary collaboration, commitments, initiatives, and programs to address our common problems and catalyze action to achieve SDG 6 on water and sanitation-related issues. I wish you a productive and constructive discussion and conclude by officially opening this second stakeholders consultation meeting. I will reiterate what Boss said, that hopefully the 10th World Water Forum will be successful, but more than that, will be useful for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, His Excellency Bapak Basuki Hadi Mulyono. Please remain on stage.
Mohon untuk tetap berada di panggung, as now we will continue with a photo session. Therefore, we would like to also invite the Board of Governors and also the speakers to join Excellency Bapak Basuki on the stage, please. We will now have a photo session. Therefore, once again, we invite the Board of Governors and speakers to join Bapak Basuki on the stage.
Yes, we would like to commemorate this beautiful event, to take pictures together.
And the second stakeholders consultation meeting for the upcoming 10th World Water Forum has officially begun by the statement from His Excellency Bapak Basuki Hadi Mulyono, the Minister of Public Works and Housing of the Republic of Indonesia. With the spirit of inclusiveness, we want to make sure that everyone will be in the frame. Please look at the main photographer, the one that raised his hand in front of all of you. Untuk fotografer utama, boleh mengangkat tangan. In 3, 2, 1. One more time, in 3, 2, 1. We will say Bali. Let's give another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, you may return to your seat. Ladies and gentlemen, water as key ingredient to the prosperity of the society. Therefore, for the upcoming 10th World Water Forum, The theme is water for shared prosperity. That means water should be a resource that available for everyone in the time it needed. Bali as the host for the 10th World Water Forum in 2024 sees water as prominent role in the ecosystem. Water is the sign of fertility and prosperity. Water is the building block for life and represents fullness that has memory.
The second stakeholders consultation meeting will be the place for the water-related multi-stakeholders participating in the forum processes to bring interim discussion results within each process working group and design the forum week with more concrete ideas for actions and beyond. All participants will discuss each forum process and further activities that will be interlinked based on updated agenda and topics, political commitments, and action plans for water for shared prosperity. We will have thematic sessions with different sub-themes, and we will also have several speakers during each session on this second stakeholders consultation meeting for the upcoming 10th World Water Forum.
And water conservation efforts must be consistently applied from the upstream to downstream areas. Potential strategies encompass the establishment of water resources inventory and management systems, the preservation of springs and springsheds, and the promotion of sustainable land use practices. And also, the latest research from Nature Water reported that over half of the world's population, or around 5.5 billion people, could be affected by surface water pollution by 2100. Meanwhile, a World Bank report found that lack of clean water limits productivity, deteriorating water quality is stalling economic growth, worsening health conditions, and exacerbating poverty in many countries.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we do hope that throughout the days we will engage in insightful sessions, discussions, workshops, and all of the thematic sessions. And all of our sessions will empower us with knowledge and also encourage us to make a better world.
And now we would like to invite Head of the Indonesian Agency for Meteorology, Climatology and Geophysics, Ibu Dwi Korita Karnawati, to introduce us about the 10th World Water Forum. Ibu Dwi Korita Karnawati, the stage is yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Also, good morning, His Excellency, Minister, Public Works and Housing, His Excellency, the President of World Water Council, dear colleagues, speakers, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to highlight several lessons learned that just presented earlier by the Governor of Bali, also by the Presidents of World Water Council and by the Minister of Public Works and Housing. That's about respecting the nature. It's about the living in harmony with the nature. So, please allow me to start the introduction by recalling back the history of human life. Not long time ago, we have several natural events which seriously affect the society, the human life, which then we must respect to the nature. Otherwise, we can be distinction. We may not be available anymore in the planet Earth when we neglect the power of the nature. So next slide, please. Let me call back Mount Tambora eruption. Super colossal eruption in 1815 released huge amount of volcanic gases and acids, result in global cooling for 3 years. And year without summer in Europe, as average surface temperature went down into 1.5 up to 3 degrees centigrade. It resulted in famine and deaths. Still further catastrophic event, not really catastrophic, but slow onset event, also occur in the past. Next slide, please. We can see the graph at the top showing historical record on climate anomaly, that La Nina, El Nino. When the graph sitting up with the green color, it was El Nino. So this history showing series of El Nino since more than 50 years ago. And we have strong correlation, empirical strong correlation between the occurrence of El Nino in 57 up to 58. In that time, the escalation Cuban Revolution occurred. Then in 1959, China Great Famine with 3 million impact occur. Then 72 up to 73, we have Maharashtra starvation. That's in India, I think. And then in 1984, another El Nino resulted in the famine Horn of Africa with 300,000 effects of that El Nino. Next slide, please. What about in Indonesia? I think most of the audience from Indonesia, starting 57, 58, we have presidential decree. Then 65, 66, we have the 30th September movement, G30S PKI. Then 72, 73, we have Malari incident. 82, 83, the Petrus killings. 1998, civil unrest, political reformation. 1997 and to 1998. Then what happened in 2015 and 2016? Luckily, BMKG, our agency, has got this data. So immediately, we go to the palace, to the president. This is early warning. So, thanks God that our president successfully saved from that El Nino impact because of the early warning of this series. So, again, now we have another El Nino. Before 2019, we have also El Nino. Luckily, our president has been very skillful in dealing with that because of the lesson learned. So, however, we learned that there is strong relation. In fact, yes, due to the El Nino, we have scarcity of water, which can drive social conflict. We have food scarcity, and we know that how hard our government try to maintain the inflation, how to compensate the rice scarcity. Thanks to the government which has been working hard for that, so we can maintain the social life. Next slide, please. So It was about the importance how we respect to the nature, we learn to the nature in order to save our socio-cultural and political life. And now let's see the existing challenges. We still have continuous challenge, but we must be smarter. We must be smarter, learning from the history. We must work harder in collaboration, in harmony with the nature, in collaboration with other countries, in harmony with the nature. So it is the fact that impact of climate variability and change are often felt through water. The dynamics of the water cycle and its interaction with human society result in varying spatio-temporal patterns of the water resources availability, and also impact of water-related extremes affecting life, development and sustainability of ecosystems, societies and individuals. So again, this is the importance how we understand, we respect our nature in order to survive our, to save our civilization. Next slide, please. We have recently State of Global Water Resources 2021, released by the World Meteorological Organization, which highlights several critical challenges to the global water resources, those hydrological extremes, and also freshwater losses. That means annual terrestrial freshwater displacement occur with result in lack of freshwater access, or unequal access for clean water. That means result in water injustice. Earlier, our minister highlights the importance of water justice. That's our dream. We need to achieve our dream for water justice, because nowadays, in fact, we have water injustice. So this is the main issue that we are going to tackle, how to solve the water injustice, to achieve water justice. Next slide, please. This is the example how we have hydrological extremes lead to water injustice. Drought, floods, since 2020, even since long time ago, since 10 years ago, we have a disaster related to water. And now the frequency of the disaster increases and the intensity getting stronger, and the duration of the extreme events getting longer. And severe damage and substantial losses, emphasizing the needs for systematically mitigation and adaptation to water-related issues through the means of systematic observation and data collection in order to formulate effective science-based policy. Next slide, please. This is example, annual terrestrial freshwater displacement. Please pay attention in the orange, indicating the region with higher discharge of freshwater into ocean, posing the issue of lack of freshwater access, which is a real threat to equal access for clean water. Next slide, please. So in 2021, a greater proportion of Earth's surface belong to the basins that reported much below normal annual discharge at their outlets than to basin exhibiting above normal discharge. So more problems than the normal one, simply like that. Next slide, please. And this showing results of the analysis. We can see more orange than pink. Pink is the normal. Orange is much below or below. So mean less water than the normal. And green, blue is more than normal. So we have extreme, less, and much. So that means is really result in serious problems like disasters. Next slide, please. So we have unequal capacity and resiliency to weather, climate, and water extremes. Next slide. So that's the problem. This is the evidence. Extreme weather, climate, and water-related events caused more than 11,000 disasters between 1970 and 2021. It is very interesting that developed countries had over 60% of weather-related economic losses, but mostly under 0.1% of their GDP. In least developed countries, there is 7% of disaster cost losses over 5% of GDP, reaching up to 30%. How unequal our situation. Even in small island states, 20% of disasters led to losses of 5% of GDP and some exceeding 100%. So again, how injustice we are, how unequal we are. Next slide, please. So let us jump, because the time limitation, let us jump for the next slide. Yeah, next slide. Right, so we do have climate injustice, which result in water injustice, and then we will have food crisis. It is predicted in the mid-century in 2050, according to the World Meteorological Organization and FAO. Then we may also have energy injustice. All of those due to inequality of capacities. Why that happen? Because we have inequality of capacities among states, countries, region, especially related to the gaps in knowledge, science and technology, financial capacity, governance, and management. How can we successfully achieve SDGs if we do have these gaps? We must close the gaps. Next slide, please. So, failures in achieving SDGs may result in conflicts within or among the basin, states, regions, eventually result in global socio-economic and political conflicts. Next slide. Next slide, please. Next, please, next. Yes. Next slide. Yeah, next slide, please. So here we are. In order to close the gaps, in order to close or to solve the inequality in capacity, we need to have World Water Forum. So we must work hard in the 10th World Water Forum with the theme Water for Shared Prosperity. It means water justice, not injustice. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. How can we do that in the 10th World Water Forum? The objective of the forum is, again, water for shared prosperity, and we will discuss 6 sub-themes: water for humans and nature, water security and prosperity, disaster risk reduction and management, governance, cooperation and hydro diplomacy, sustainable water finance, knowledge and innovation. So our common challenge is the climate change, population growth, urbanization, energy crisis, soil and air pollution. So we do need to work not in silo. We must consider the cross-cutting enablers to solve the injustice. The cross-cutting enablers such as dealing with the governance, science and technology, innovation, financing and investment, cooperation and partnership, policy development, circular economy, education and capacity building through 3 processes, that thematic process, which then also link to regional process and link to political process, which has been explained earlier by the presidents. Next slide, please. So these are the 6 sub-themes that need to be further elaborated by addressing all the challenges that I have been showing you based on the data. So in each sub-themes, we have 5 topics, so in total 30 topics. So please, everyone, be active to speak out, to share your experience and knowledge within the discussion in each topics in order to drive 3 most burning issue. Each topic needs to propose 3 most burning issue that will be further discussed. And some of those can be discussed further in the high level and can be proposed further to the head of states or through the ministerial declaration. Next slide, please. So we also have regional process. We have Mediterranean, Americas, Asia Pacific, and Africa. The importance of this is to address the uniqueness of each region. The case may not be able to be solved by the generic approach. We need to have a specific approach for the uniqueness of each region. So please feel free to speak out, to share your knowledge and experience in order to find out at least 3 burning issues for further efforts to close the gap. Next slide, please. And the last, not but the least, is the political process. We will touch the issue with the related to head of states, the parliamentarian, ministerial, local authorities, and basin authorities. So again, the political part of the political process is the engine for making concrete action. Without the legal binding, without the political efforts, most of discussion of the scientists just end up in the paper, in the journals. It's difficult to be implemented in the real action. So we do need the political action, political approach. Next slide, please. So I think we can go ahead next. Again, we must make interlink between themes, region, and 3 processes, and planning further action and designing final deliverables for the framework for the forum week. Designing follow-up action after the forum. That's the main target of our stakeholders consultation. Next slide, please. So we need to produce more concrete ideas for concrete actions. Next, this is the example. How could we perform concrete action, for instance, following cooperation, government to government, business to business, private, public partnership, collaboration with the international organization, and multi-stakeholders partnership. Next slide. So we close the gap by science-based policy, addressing and filling possible gaps from various perspectives, including technological, socio-economic, political, and socio-cultural, for accelerating the improvement for closing the gaps. Next slide. This is the gap that we have: inequality, disparity, complexity. We have climate injustice. So we need to close the gaps for climate justice through the capacity improvement in terms of the knowledge, science and technology, financial, governance and management, water infrastructure, systematic observation, and data collection. etc. So this is the role of our 10th World Water Forum, bridging or closing the gap, concrete action for solutions. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibu Dwi Korita Karnawati. You may return to your seat.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce the second stakeholders consultation meeting overview and objectives, let us give our warmest welcome to the Director of Asia Pacific and the 10th World Water Forum, Ms. Yoon-Jin Kim.
Good morning, everyone. Very nice to meet you again. Terima kasih, especially to Governor Jaya and Minister Basuki. It was very pleased to be welcomed whenever we are here in Bali. And I am on behalf of all the participants. And from the perspective of the co-host, I really appreciate all the valuable guests, but also at the same time valuable actors for the 10th World Water Forum who will be more activated during these 2 days. I was very more understood what our co-host of Indonesian side had in mind for this World Water Forum during the past few months and what we are seeking for together. And Dr. Dwi Korita has mentioned was really well summarized what we have discussed so far and what we can seek for towards our process further, having those steps to prepare the 10th World Water Forum. So my presentation is mostly and mainly focusing on what we are going to do from today to tomorrow. It's more practical information. So I will introduce what we are going to do more in a specific way with our agenda. Okay, during more than 2 years process of the World Water Forum, the second stakeholders meeting is the place, as you know, and period of checking the progress so far and giving our inputs for more in-depth discussion. Developing concept and the description of the priorities we made together from thematic, regional, and political perspectives. And by having this gathering of the second stakeholders meeting, the working group will physically meet together with new experts who are interested in their topics or regional issues, as well as political agenda for 2 days. It is the interim gathering of the World Water Forum for development of our ideas that were identified until now. And this procedure is always along with consideration of the practical and tangible solutions that everyone mentioned at the beginning. This is just brief information. To do that, currently we are with 1,094 people from 73 countries currently in this room. Yes, thanks to our Indonesian Secretariat as well. From now to tomorrow, over 1,000 people will be discussing together based upon what previously discussed, also invent together new ideas to develop 3 processes. Since we have putting our heads together and design and also plan for the specific roadmap and concept note per each theme and region, thematic in the middle kicked off first among those 3 processes, as you know, and here to develop concept for the topics and sub-themes, more elaboration. Based on the consensus of those concepts and themes, there will be topic prioritized will be discussed. for the potential sessions during the forum week. In addition, to ensure common areas to be discussed more in depth across the topics or themes, there will be a proposals of the cross-cutting thematic perspectives by proposing joint activities, including sessions between themselves. The regional process will focus on sub-regional and regional priorities. This is based on the further steps to share practical cases from local and regional community along with the priorities. Since regional process is considering their priorities aligning with the 30 topics under the thematic process framework, in substance, they will be interlinked and exchange their inputs. In the political dialogue during the second stakeholders meeting, which will be held on 13th, the second day, we will develop concept and a roadmap that will be discussed preliminary between coordinating organizations of each segment of the 5 different political processes, and we will also share the expectations per each of the segment of the political process. However, it will be soon the thematic and regional processes input as a food to this political process, viewing from the different perspectives is to be also considered in the political process, which means we will work on our interlinking of those 3 processes. So as you can see, during our second stakeholders meeting, we are going to kick off our dialogues to interlink between the substance between thematic and regional, and the thematic regional, they will be bring out our own messages from the thematic perspective and regional perspective to the political message and agenda that will be delivered by the concrete initiatives or the commitments. To simplify, we could consider the concrete results and deliverables upon each process during the 10th World Water Forum, while all processes are heading towards action with concrete solutions. Political process will be produced not limited to commitments, considering practical solutions, action agenda, or declaration. But there will be more special activities that we could create or invent together by having this preliminary discussion from the second stakeholders meeting. Political process will be produced not only limited to those items, and to make it more specify the objectives and share the vision. During today's planning and sharing the noting of each process between coordination organizations will be done, and they also will share opinions and expectations. So thematic process with a larger group from different regional and political process of the working group will bring proposals of the prioritized topics to be tentatively applicable for the sessions during the forum week. And also cross-cutting issues between topics and sub-themes will be discussed with the proposal of the high-level panels that could be also crossing the topics and the sub-theme, which also could be related to other process. Okay. So this is the general information that most of you have already received, but newcomers have never been introduced. So before we go into the breakout session, it could be a little helpful to understand the structure. For the thematic process, per one sub-theme, there are 5 topics, and each sub-theme has its own coordinator with its group members. And topic coordinators per each topic, which you will be introduced soon during our opening ceremony. And in total, we have more than 350 organizations engaged in the working group, and now we will expand our stakeholders to make even more developed deliverables of our each topic and sub-theme discussion. For the regional process, we have 4 regions as mentioned, and each and every region has its own coordinators by having their name of the organizations, who are also will be briefly introduced at the later part of the opening ceremony. Each regional coordinators in case of the Asia Pacific and Americas and Africas will be finalized after this second stakeholders meeting, which means that we are on a second phase of the organizing of our structure for the working group in case of the regional process at this moment. So please also pay attention to the regional process to elaborate your regional water issues within our dialogues, and the way of participating will be greatly welcome to be shared by our regional coordinators and also the co-host secretariat. As you've seen from the program, this is the general program of 2 days, already you've seen. First part goes to the thematic process breakout session after this opening ceremony, followed by the next day, another breakout session of the thematic process. And tomorrow, when there is thematic breakout session, there will be also parallel political dialogue discussion. This will be also followed by the regional process breakout session per each region, and during plenary, we will sum up and interact with the results of the breakout sessions and find cross-cutting ideas and messages that could be applicable to each process from the other processes' input. So giving your practical information, the first the breakout session of the thematic process will be operated 4 hours. So each sub-theme will have their own room designated, and each room will be composed of its own 5 topics. So each sub-theme room will be coordinated by sub-theme coordinator. Likewise, the topic will be coordinated by table chair, who is the topic coordinator. The first day, the breakout discussion will be focusing tentative priority of the topic for the sessions, and also the cross-cutting issues between different 30 topics and also between 6 sub-themes. Tomorrow's thematic breakout session follows. The following day will be more focusing on the messages and concrete initiatives that could be proposed to the other processes' input to ensure interlinkage between the 3 processes. While having second thematic process session, we will also have a political dialogue to elaborate 5 different segments with its general notion with roadmaps as well as expectations we could share from the coordinating organization and also the focal partners who are interested in the political process. In case ministerial level process, UNESCO will be leading, and also basin authority process will be led by INBO. Likewise, the UCLG as a coordinating organization of the local and regional authority process will be there to introduce their own segments of the political process. And we'll visit regional perspectives by having regional breakout sessions, since we'll have more Asian participants. Left side, you can see, left side, you can see the bigger room with the 5 different sub-region already dedicated to each sub-regional issues will be operated. And right side, you have 3 different regions will be allocated with the different rooms to have a breakout session for regional issues. Okay. Based on discussion during these 2 days of the stakeholders meeting, we expect to have our concept of the themes and regional priorities of the issues from local and regional perspectives. And also the political notion dealing with water could be more developed by your individual and organizational experiences and knowledge that could be paving our way towards our overarching theme, water for shared prosperity, that could be only possible by our collective efforts and actions. And hope the World Water Forum in this way, 10th edition could be our valuable process in the center of our driving vehicle towards this water shared prosperity. So hopefully we could have a very productive discussion for these 2 days and having more mobilizing our competent partners together, which will expand our all scopes of the work for our team. Thank you very much and see you at the breakout session.
Thank you so much, Ms. Yoonjin, for a very complete overview on the second stakeholders consultation meeting.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed to the high-level dialogue, we would like to invite back to the stage to give an inspirational message. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Loic Fouchon.
Assalamu alaikum again. They asked me for an inspiring keynote speech, which I think the first one was not inspiring. So I'll try to convince you. Dear Minister Basuki, Mr. Governor of Bali, dear friends of water, 8 months ago in Jakarta, taking advantage of the legendary Indonesian hospitality to open the kickoff meeting of the 10th World Water Forum, I said to you, why? Yes, why have we come here together? And today I can ask you the same question. Why? Why have we come to this beautiful island of Bali? Nearly 900 to 1,000 of us from all over Indonesia and more than 70 countries around the world, representing several hundred of organizations and governments and local authorities, basin authorities, civil society leaders, and public and private operators. Why is this so? My personal answer is as follows. Mainly because we have strong beliefs and deep convictions. Because we have given ourselves a mission. The mission of no longer leaving the planet in the dark about water. Because water is a vital necessity, you know that. Because water is life, water is nature, water is development, water is prosperity, and most, water is peace. But above all, I said that a few minutes ago, water is under attack. Of course, climate change, floods, droughts, and disaster are disrupting the great water cycle. But we should not forget demographics. 3 to 4 billion more people by the end of the century, and primarily in the poorest continents and countries and megacities. Let's face it, because these megacities are reservoirs of poverty, and reservoirs of insecurity, and no one knows how to control their development. Climate and demographics represent every year, billions of additional volumes of fresh water, and with their consequences, the need to control mega pollution and the urgent obligation to develop massive sanitation systems. All this is because we have ignored water with lack of respect. We wanted to enslave it like so many other natural resources. Well, dear friends, that time is over. Water is not our slave. Water must once again become our friend. And I would go even further for the times to come. Water will be our partner. Water surrounds us. Water brings us together. Water stimulates us. It's our gift coming from the past, and it will be our future and the future of the next generations, if we know how to protect it from the dangers that threaten it. And primarily, climate and demographics, as I have just mentioned. What can we do about this situation? And what have we actually started to do? On the one hand, we need to have more water resources at our disposal through a combination of measures. And you know what they are. First, we need to call on underground reserves, making the invisible visible. Secondly, transferring water when it's necessary over greater distances and increasing our capacity to desalinate seawater and brackish water. And still more, widespread reuse of wastewater, which will undoubtedly be the revolution of this century for water resources. These new resources will require us to know how to better reserve them. From a rainy year to a dry year, from a season to another season. And, ladies and gentlemen, the concept of large dams, which you are all familiar, will gradually give way to aquatic reserves as protector of our biodiversity and ecosystems, and in the same time saving water. Protect, conserve, treat, and use. All this will only be sufficient if each and every one of us can force ourselves to change our relationship with water. This is not only an individual obligation, but also a collective one based on solidarity and sustainable sobriety. A new economy of water resource lies ahead, making better use of digital developments and no doubt some parts of artificial intelligence. In this context, we are facing numerous challenges, and I would like to mention the most important, but also the most difficult to solve. First and foremost, we need to give priority to the new balance between water for humans and water for nature. Nature-based solutions provide some of the most sustainable response to ensure water security in the long term. For example, to prevent floods while restoring riverbanks in big cities, and many, many other solutions still to be studied and implemented. Sharing water for humans and for nature is also a way for maintaining a necessary balance between rural areas and cities. There might be smart cities, perhaps, but do not forget smart and productive rural areas also. Second is food production. Food production is in danger. We have all together